Hellblade Senua Sacrifice is one of the greatest works of art I've ever experienced. When this game was over, I was literally speechless. I'm a man who has played a lot of video games in his 23 years, and this game had me shook to my core. This is not going to be one of my typical reviews or retrospective videos. There's not going to be much structure. I'm just going to speak from my heart here. I'm not going to completely spoil the story because this is a game that I believe everyone needs to experience for themselves. This is Hellblade Senua Sacrifice. Welcome to madness. Paranoid schizophrenia. A term that most people use when defining Senua.
Her people call it a curse.
They blamed her for the plague.
She blamed herself.
She blamed herself for Dillion.
It's her fault. She has to save him.
Save him from hell. Have you ever experienced psychosis? Have you ever wondered what it might be like to never escape from your nightmares?
To be awake and in total darkness.
The voices that torment Senua are her greatest enemy and greatest ally. You can't do this, they say.
She has to do this.
They're designed to fuck with you in every way they can. Discourage, encourage, assist, and distract. You never escape them. Like Senua, they're a plague upon you that you must endure. The only difference between us is after 6.5 to 7 hours, they leave us. I had to take breaks because of them at times. 3 to 4 voices were all screaming at me to the point of overwhelming me, and that's the point. To show us how cruel this mental illness can be.
To allow us to step into the shoes of those who fight this internal conflict every single day.
But the voices are not just there to mess with you.
They're also one of the greatest exposition tools I have ever seen.
Giving us insight into Senua's life
Telling
experiences.
us of her fears, but also her happiness.
They serve as a narrative tool, so we aren't constantly interrupted by the narrator. This gives us a pretty unique segment of gameplay. Puzzles that can only be solved by obeying the voices
Or illusionary cues that the game offers.
Combat tips, enemy weaknesses, story elements.
Her illness is the basis of everything in the game. It is the game. The journey into Helheim is without a doubt one of the greatest journeys I've ever been a part of. From dark, dreary caves to hellish flesh mountains, it's a spectacle. Even more so when you realize that you don't even know if any of this is real.
It could all just be in Senua's mind.
I don't believe that this game could be presented with lower quality graphics and still be as impactful. Fuck, Senua is one of the best looking characters I've ever seen in a game. She's also very attractive. I have a thing for pagan women. Don't at me. Every single detail is important, particularly the lighting, which gets its own actual gameplay mechanic about halfway through the game. Nothing in the world is of less value than another. I think that's one thing that I find truly remarkable. They didn't waste time building areas that were pointless.
Every single area and detail are important.
If it's not, then it's unreachable. If you need to explore an area,
Then there's a reason behind it.
most areas are occupied by puzzles that require you to use Senua's sight.
And her many internal voices to solve them.
I say sight with a strong emphasis because a lot of this game is focused around shifting perspective, both literally and metaphorically. Senua's perception of the world around her is your perception, after all. So you often have to change your perception to figure out a puzzle.
That can be quite literal.
Most puzzles require you to find runes hidden in the world to unlock a door. These runes are literally hidden throughout the environment and sometimes can be pretty tough to pinpoint. Combat is intense and definitely requires mastery.
You are not going to fumble your way through the fights in this game.
You have to take it slow and figure out everything on your own because it doesn't teach you anything. Hell, it doesn't even teach you how to fight. If you figure it out, you'll learn that any 3-hit combo that ends with a heavy attack can be continued into a similar combo that could possibly allow an endless combo. It's a beautiful system, but you have to be on guard because later enemies will beat you to a bloody pulp if you're not ready for them. Here's an example. This is a fight scene towards the very end of the game. I am completely surrounded by enemies, backed into a corner. My only hope was to take it slow and defeat them one by one. It's satisfying combat that is also relentless. Imagine my pride when I defeated all of these assholes. Senua is a well-trained warrior, but it's up to you to realize her full potential. Also, there's an ominous permadeath message towards the start of the game. Don't let that turn you off, because nothing in this game is what it seems to be. Remember, this game is about perception and how your perception can deceive you. One of the best parts of the game is when you're stripped of your sight. You have to rely on Senua's perception to find your way through a horrifying area occupied by equally horrifying terrors that you can't see. Using your hearing alone, you have to navigate your way through the darkness. This act had me so horrified that I almost couldn't get through it. And I'm not one to shy away from horror segments.
If you don't wear your headphones while playing this game, you are doing yourself a disservice.
It's a bunch of small scenes like this that add up to become one of the greatest gaming experiences I've ever had. Narratively, this game is impactful. It tells a meaningful story about love, loss, and mental illness. A narrative that is more than complemented by its stunning graphics and expertly crafted melee combat. Every single system works perfectly alone, but together they form the single greatest game Ninja Theory has ever released. And now, we have a sequel on the horizon. What fate do the gods have in store for our tormented Senua?
Follow us. We have another story to tell. My friend. Go with her.
Thank you guys so much for watching. This game was so much of a pleasure to dive into. Please let me know what you all think about the Hellblade 2 trailer released at the Video Game Awards. If you do me a huge favor and hit that like button and consider subscribing, because I'm going to be doing more videos like this here soon. Thank you guys again. I will see you next time.